In today's video I changed some oils and the car spits to me. Hello everyone, part 3 of the Picasso project. After some suffering in the last video, today it is time to change the engine oil and filter, the gearbox oil and the front brakes along with the brake fluid. Let's start. As I have already shown you in other videos, the first thing to do is to open the oil filler cap and the dipstick to prepare for emptying. I go under the car to remove the drain plug. Whoops, it burns. Now I put a new plug with a new washer. The torque spec of the oil drain plug is 34 Nm. Now it's time to remove the filter. At first it seems like an easy task to do from up here, since it is visible. First I try with 3 different tools, but there is no way to loosen it. Change of strategy, it's time to try from below, to see if it's easier. It turns out that the filter was tightened by the Incredible Hulk, and there was no way with any of the tools they had on hand in the workshop. My next idea was to stick a screwdriver into the filter so I could apply more force, so the filter should come out more easily. But nope, it didn't work, and I made a mess here. Finally, in the workshop, they had another wrench for filters. It works.
Hostia puta, está bien apretado, Aquí está.
Here you have the new filter, a pure flux. I put a bit of new oil on the rubber gasket and then it can be put in place. Tightening it by hand is more than enough. I cleaned the area, which was a bit dirty with very black oil. The last step of the oil change is to fill with new oil. The capacity is 4.75 liters, so I fill with around 4.5 until the dipsticks mark between min and max. Then start the engine so that the oil flows through the whole circuit, filter included. Finally, after about 5 minutes, turn off the engine and refill until the dipsticks marks 3/4. Done! Now it's time to change the gearbox oil. Something that almost no one does. It's quite easy to do, and it's also good to keep your gearbox healthy. The drain plug is this one here. I cleaned it since it was full of dirt. To drain it, just like draining the engine oil, I remove the drain plug and all the oil is drained. Once emptied, I put the drain plug with a new copper washer. The drain plug gearbox torque spec is 35 Nm. A bit of cleaning and it's time to fill. So I move to the driver's side under the wheel arch. As you saw in the previous video, and if not you can see it here, I removed the wheel arches and the skid plate since I am going to be working under the car for several days in a row. In this way, the gearbox filler plug is visible from the left side. We remove it and we can now fill it. I have fulfilled with 2 liters and the capacity is about 1.8, so I am letting drain the extra 200 milliliters. When it doesn't drip anymore, some cleaning and then place the filler plug with a new washer. The torque spec of the filler plug is 20 Nm.
Ya está.
A bit of cleaning and done. The time has come for the brakes. The rotors, as you could see in the presentation video, are pretty worn, so it is necessary to change them, and together with the pads, and I will take the opportunity to put in new guides for the calipers and their bellows. Let's go! I start loosening the screws that hold the caliper to the caliper holder. To remove the caliper, you have to retract the piston a little, and it comes out easily. I hang it from the shock absorber with some zip ties so that it doesn't hang from the hose and avoid damaging it. Now it's time to remove the caliper holder screws with a 55 Torx wrench. I take it to the work table and here I remove the old plates through which the pads slide. Time for brushing and cleaning with brake cleaner. And now I can put in the new plates. By pulling, the guide comes out with its rubber cap.
que yo. Esto básicamente así.
To put the new one, I spread a lot of grease and I put it exactly the same as the old one was. With the second guide, just the same. I moved back to the car to remove the brake disc. These had 2 Torx screws. The guy who tightened them must be the same who tightened the oil filter. With a screwdriver I prevented this from rotating, and this way I can loosen the screws without problem. A few taps with the hammer and it's out.
Nada.
Brushing the hub and cleaning with brake cleaner is always good. Now I put a little copper grease on the lip of the hub and the brake disc can be installed. The new screws are simply tightened by hand. There is no need to go overboard with the tightening. It's time to put everything back together. First the caliper holder, the torque is 105 Nm. Before mounting the caliper and pads, I use this tool to retract the piston, so that I can mount the caliper without problems. I put some copper grease on the ears of the pads, which is where they slide on the plates of the caliper holder. And the caliper is finally placed with its new screws. The tightening torque is 27 Nm. For the top screw, the grains didn't fit, so I tightened it by hand. How nice looks everything new. And now, copy paste on the other side. Here something happened. The brake fluid has overflowed as I retracted the piston back, so there was a mess here. I have cleaned it with brake cleaner, that's why it looked like this. Now it's time to change the brake fluid. Of course I have removed a bit as it overflowed. Take a look at the color of the old fluid. As always, I first test the tightness by putting pressure on the system, and hopefully it shouldn't lose pressure. Let's wait for about 5-10 minutes and then I will check the pressure. It hasn't lost pressure, so I fill it with .4 brake fluid. In this case I am going to fill with 2 liters, to be sure that I don't run out of fluid in the system. But as you will see at the end, 1 or 1.5 liters would have been more than enough. I put pressure back into the circuit, around 1.5 bars.
A purgar.
As always, I start with the farthest wheel, the right rear one. Here you have the bleeder. I remove the rubber cap, hang the bottle, insert the key and put the tube. Then I open the bleeder and you see the color of the old fluid. The tube lost a bit of fluid and made a bit of a mess here. After a while, the new liquid comes out, so I can close the bleeder and remove the tube. Carefully, since I don't know why, if it was because of the tube or what, but the pressure difference made it spit fluid all over the place. I think that the quality of this kit is not as good as the one I have in Germany, since this has never happened to me before, but hey, it does its job. Now I do the same on the rear left wheel. Then front right. And finally the front left. I remove the pressure from the pump and put everything back in place. I suck just a bit of brake fluid from the tank until it reaches the max mark, and that's it. And that's all for today. In the next video I will fight again with the car, since it is time to change the accessory belt drive with its various tensioners and pulleys, and the timing belt with the water pump and new coolant. Consider subscribing to the channel if you don't want to miss it, and as always, if you like the content, smash the like button, it helps a lot. Share it, write me some comments, and all that stuff that you can do on YouTube. Thanks for watching, bye bye!